Hi everyone, welcome to Lab 4, and this time around we'll be talking about some things you may want to keep in mind when you're putting together your memory experiment in Qualtrics. Now I should say that this video is not meant to serve as a definitive guide for how to do everything in Qualtrics, but I'm here just to highlight some key functions and general ideas for completing this lab assignment. So without further ado, why don't we just jump right into Qualtrics? And one thing that I will highly recommend you start with once you've made your Qualtrics project here is to go to this Tools menu. You'll see a drop down, you'll click on Collaborate, and this is where you will search for the names and emails of your other group members and make sure you add them onto the project. That way everybody has editing permissions, everyone can see the survey, you'll have access to the data once you publish it and are collecting the data, so on and so forth. You click Save, and then you continue. So, why don't we start with the actual contents of your survey, and everyone is going to start their survey off with the informed consent form. So what you'll notice here is I've grabbed some text that's actually from the informed consent form that you can import from Qualtrics' library. However, you guys will actually have a question and replace text like this with the actual consent form you worked on from last week, including any comments I may have given you. Once you have this here and you have some iteration of options such that a participant can select whether or not they choose to consent to participating in your survey, you'll want to make sure to pay close attention to the question behavior, not just for this question, but other questions as you will see in the future. And in particular, the type of behavior we're talking about is making sure you've applied skip logic, such that if someone decides, no, I do not consent to this survey, you will actually skip them to the very end of your survey, so that way you're not showing them all the questions. With that out of the way, let's move on and talk about the actual sort of meat of the survey here, which is your memory test and the experiment that you'll be running. So hopefully by now you guys have thought about what type of stimuli you want to use for your memory test, whether that be pictures or words, and sort of the kinds of pictures or the kinds of words you may be interested in. And so what I'm going to go over here at this point is talk about some of the things that you'll need to keep in mind when you are doing the within subjects portion of the test. So this means the portion of the survey in which all subjects are going to see sort of all of your stimuli in the same order, as well as what you want to keep in mind when you're doing the between subjects portion of this experiment, which is the case in which people are going to be split off into groups and see different orders of the stimuli that you're presenting to them. So for the within stimulus presentation, the one thing that we tell you to do in the instructions is to make sure you are paying close attention to the timing upon which you are presenting people with stimuli. So in order to do that, what you'll do is you'll have a timing question, and you'll make sure that you have it set up to auto advance such that things are advancing every half a second. And then you have whatever stimulus you're presenting. So in this case, I have the word freedom. And if I go over to my next block, I have my next stimulus lined up. So I've got the timing question, then I have the word taxi. If you're curious as to where these words are coming from, I know they seem random. This actually comes from a paper for affective norms for English words, which just has a bunch of various words that have been ranked in terms of their valence. If you're curious about this, I can leave this in the description. For the between subjects comparison, what you're going to want to do is make sure you have a question that allows you to split people into groups. Maybe it's not going to be a question like this, but let's say you ask this question. Then what you will do is when you are presenting the stimuli, you're going to use display logic such that if somebody selected a particular option, like if they said, yes, I am a vegetarian, then you will go ahead and show them this particular order of stimuli. Or if they selected this other option, then you'll go ahead and present them with this question and then show them this particular order of stimuli. The last things to keep in mind are you really want to make sure that you have a recall test as well as a recognition test after that. For one of those, you're going to want to include a meta question. What that's doing is it's just grabbing information from a participant's browser. We may use this for later. But in terms of the recall and recognition test, you just want to make sure that you have questions that are allowing people to type in the amount of stimuli in whatever order they were able to recall, as well as use some iteration of a matrix table such that you're able to ask people if certain stimuli are old or new or if they have seen something before. Lastly, you'll want to make sure that you include a debrief section with the information we provided for you in the lab assignment instructions. All right, that's all I have for you for now. So if there's any questions, as always, feel free to shoot me an email or ask when we are in class. Good luck.